can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing? In Christmas times.
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I am going to decorate my entryway in the theme of my favorite Christmas movie, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. My whole family loves this movie, and so I thought it would be a great theme for this year for Christmas. So this is how it turned out, and I'm going to show you how I made all of these things with supplies from the Dollar Tree and one thing from the Dollar Spot there. And I still need to do my tier tray, but don't worry, that will be Griswold theme as well. So let's get started. I wanted to make like a big Christmas tree farm sign, but I wanted to use supplies from the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to use 5 of these plain wood signs from the crafting section at the Dollar Tree. And I'm just cutting the string off the top of them, and I'm going to put them all together and make a great big sign. Now, if you can't find the plain wood, you can always use any of the long signs from the Dollar Tree. Just make sure they're the same length. And I'm just kind of measuring for how big my design's going to be, and then I'm going to put these things together. I'm just going to use some of these craft wood pieces from the Dollar Tree. I love the wood that's available at the Dollar Tree now. It's a great find. And I'm just going to use some Gorilla Glue hot glue, and I'm going to glue those braces on the back, at the top and the bottom. And this actually makes a really nice sturdy sign. And then I thought I would make this like something farmhouse, like a Christmas tree farm sign. So I'm going to paint it in kind of like a whitewash. And I'm going to use, this color is called Crisp Linen. And this is a chalk paint from Target, but you can use whatever you've got. And I just wanted it to be ivory and a chalk paint. So I'm just going to use a brush and kind of go all over with like just a very sloppy, distressed coat. And this is so easy to paint, this raw wood from the Dollar Tree. I love these signs, and I think I used all of them on this project. Hopefully I can find more. But look how easy that is, because you don't have to cover anything. And once I get that all on there, I am actually going to go back in and distress it a little bit with some antique wax by Waverly. Since there's the little creases in between each one of the boards, I'm going to go in there and just go in between each one of the lines. I lost a little bit of video there, but then I'm just going to go around the whole thing and just distress it all over, just working in one direction with that antique wax and a chippy brush. And then I'm going all over with baby wipes to wipe off the excess. I went a little heavier on the antique wax than I meant to, so I do have to wipe off quite a bit of it, but I get a really nice distressed look for my sign. Makes it look very much like a farm sign. And what I'm going to use today is my Cricut to cut vinyl to make a Christmas tree sign. I was very careful about saving all my designs, so I will share the designs below. I'll try to share my Cricut files, so if you have a Cricut, you can just make it right away on your Cricut. And I also am going to try to share the images on Canva as well, in case you don't have a Cricut and you want to do printables or something like that, or make your own stencils. So this is one line from the farm sign. I'm going to make it red, green, and black. So this is my black line. And it says free squirrel with purchase, which I thought was hilarious to put on this tree farm sign because of that fun scene in the movie. Oh my gosh, that movie is hysterical. And then I'm going to use just some green vinyl from the Dollar Tree. And I also use my red vinyl from the Dollar Tree as well. I like this vinyl and it works really well. The only thing I don't like about it is that the paper always sticks to my mat and rips and causes problems. So I start off with Dollar Tree vinyl, but I think end up moving to some better quality vinyl here in a little bit. And I do get it in bulk on Amazon. I can post links below for that. So the words that I'm going to have in green, are Griswold, Little Full, and Lot of Sap. And I thought that would be fun to put on the Christmas tree sign because that's one of Clark's little lines there about the Christmas tree. So I am just getting those all on my transfer paper. I like to use that paper transfer paper I get on Amazon as well. And I think it works really well, especially for something like this. Now I thought about making like a hand painted sign, but I'm trying to go for easy today. So we're going to use a lot of vinyl on our signs, but we're just going to seal it. So this is where I kind of got tired of the Dollar Tree vinyl a little bit right there. But I made it work. So the red part of the sign is going to say Christmas Tree Farm. And then I'll show you how we're going to put all of this together. Now here is our last transfer paper. And I'm making sure that my sign is good and dry. And we can start building this. So I'm going to put like the Griswold here on the top. And it's going to read the Griswold Christmas Tree Farm. And then for Christmas trees, I'm planning on using some wood Christmas trees that I got at the Dollar Tree. But you could always cut those out as vinyl as well. The only problem I noticed there was when the letters went over a seam at the top or the bottom. You do kind of have to go in and cut the vinyl with a sharp blade just to make sure that that is sealed down to the wood and not sticking up like a sticker. So here's the Christmas Tree Farm part of the sign. I wanted that one to be like really big and stand out. And then we're going to do the free scroll with purchase, just kind of like a little disclaimer here at the bottom. And then on each side, I'm going to do the other saying the Little Full, Lot of Sap in green. And then we're going to do some Christmas trees in the middle of the sign. And I love how this sign turned out. I think it's so funny. I like that it's a Christmas tree farm sign. I really wanted a big Christmas tree farm sign, but the fact that it's Griswold makes it extra special. So I'm cutting a lot of times where the vinyl goes over the seam. It just made it, work better. So these are some of those 3D kits from the Dollar Tree. And I kind of wanted to use all of them, but I end up just using one of them, and it's the one with the 3 trees. But you can use like the individual wood cutouts as well, or you could always cut that out as vinyl as well. I wanted this to look a little bit more like farm and less like stickers, so I do go over and distress all of the vinyl with some ivory chalk paint as well, just to kind of rough that up a little bit. And I want to make sure that it doesn't come up as well. And so I'm going over the whole thing with some matte Mod Podge from the Dollar Tree. Just one coat to help seal that vinyl down and make sure it's like a permanent sign. Now for the little Christmas trees for the middle, we're just going to paint those green. I'm going to use this acrylic paint from Target. I think it's called Christmas Green. And these things are so fast and easy to paint. And then I am going to go in and hot glue that to the sign. I think I missed that part. And this is the part where I'm cleaning it up. Had a lot of editing problems. I had to recover corrupted videos. Oh my goodness. Technology. And so I'm going to put a little hanger to hang the whole sign. I just had one of these cloth tooth hangers that I took off of, a thrift find, and I'm just going to hammer that into the back, and easy peasy, we have a hanger for our Christmas tree farm sign. Okay, up next is going to be Cousin Eddie's sweater from the movie. So I found this at the Target dollar spot for $3. It is like an ugly sweater on one side and a chalkboard on the other. And I saw it and I thought, Cousin Eddie's sweater with like the dickey showing through. I loved it. I thought it was iconic. And so I'm just using some painter's tape to do like a rectangle, to like tape off a rectangle on the top where the dickey line would be, because you could totally see it through his sweater. Then I'm going to paint the black chalkboard with ivory acrylic paint. And I'm using acrylic because I want you to be able to see through it. So I'm going to go over this whole thing with one coat. And then I'm going to move the tape to like a V-neck. and then do a second coat. And what my plan there was, is I wanted one coat where the dickey is going to show through and 2 coats everywhere else of the paint. That way it would look like you could see the dickey through the sweater like you could on him, which was hilarious. So once I have the first coat on, I'm just going to do a V-neck here with the painter's tape. And then we can go on there and do the second coat of the ivory acrylic paint. And it turned out really well. It turned out exactly what I was hoping for. So I'm going to go over the whole thing again with just another coat and see how the sweater is going to have really good coverage over that black chalkboard. But the parts there that I had taped off are going to be, you can see through that. So it's going to look just like a see-through sweater. And Cousin Eddie was hilarious in that movie. And so I thought I would also try to make this into a sign. So since it's a white sweater, it'd be a great place to put some more vinyl and make another Christmas vacation sign. So I got that all on there, and then I'm going to give it a dry. And see, it turned out exactly like I wanted. You can see that little rectangular part where a dickey would be, and then the top kind of looks like the turtleneck part that's sticking out from the top of the dickey. And then I'm just going to go in and paint lines for the seam for the V-neck part of his sweater, just to kind of distinguish that a little bit. I was trying to freehand it there, but it was a little hard to try to keep it off of the chalkboard. So I do go back and tape it off so that I can put those lines on there a little bit easier. And this was really easy to put together, and I think it's so funny. And it's something for my table. I kind of needed something to go with my tier tray that I'm going to do next. And I'm going to do it in Christmas vacation theme as well. And I've got some things planned for that, and hopefully I'll be able to get that video up next. And I think I have all the sweater painted on here. It turned out exactly what I was hoping for. And now we can use the Cricut to cut out some red vinyl for the front. Now, I wanted to do one of his iconic lines from the movie. And so my favorite part was where Clark's telling the children at dinner that, they spotted Santa Claus, and he deadpan looks at him and he's like, "You serious, Clark?" And so that is the line that I picked for Cousin Eddie. And you can tell that the back is ripped off that vinyl. That's still that Dollar Tree vinyl. And that's what drives me crazy. It causes me a lot of trouble, and I don't know how to fix it. Somebody told me to cut it on washi, and I did try that at the washi tape setting, and it's still stuck and ripped just as bad. So I don't know. So I'm putting that on my transfer paper, and then we can put that on the sign just on the front of his sweater like that. I thought the red would stand out nice against the ivory, and that's how it turned out. I think it's so fun. And then I'm just going to go in there and clean it up a little bit and seal it with a coat of Mod Podge to make sure that it stays down. And I just go all over with one coat of Mod Podge, and this Cousin Eddie project is complete. I really hope you guys love Christmas vacation as much as my family does and enjoy these projects. If you do today, don't forget to hit like, comment your favorite project below, and don't forget to hit subscribe. So I wanted to do 4 signs to go around my Christmas tree sign just to finish off my whole wall. So I'm using this wood Christmas tree from the Dollar Tree, and I just painted it with that Christmas tree green paint. And I'm just distressing it with ivory, and then I'm going to make it into a sign. And there's so many great quotes from this movie that I still have so many I want to use for the tier tray as well. But I wanted to use this part where the neighbors were giving Griswold crap about how big his Christmas tree was. And so I did that line. "Hey Griswold, where do you think you're going to put put a tree that big?" And we all know what Clark's response to that is, right? So I'm just weeding that out. And again, I saved all these designs on my Cricut, and I'm also going to upload them to Canva, and I will have all the links below if you want to recreate these signs for yourself. I had to make everything, and so this will save you a lot of time. And I measured my Christmas tree. It fits perfectly. And then sometimes the punctuation is hard to get on there. So sometimes I just use a white paint pen to touch that up. And I love the sign. And I'm just going to do a quick sand and some matte Mod Podge and tie a new string on. And this will be ready to go. And then I wanted to make it kind of look like it had a little bit of snow on it. So when I distress a little bit more with that ivory chalk paint, just to do some snow on the sides of the Christmas tree. And this is our first sign. I want to do red and green for Christmas. So I'm going to do 2 green signs and 2 red signs. Now, this is from the Dollar Tree as well. It's a camper with a tree on top. And I thought the camper and I thought of the RV from the movie. And so that's going to be the theme for this one. And I'm going to paint it bright red. So this is like candy apple red. And I'm just going to make these all like one color, like I did the green Christmas tree. And so making this guy red. And then I'm going to use white vinyl on this one as well to take a line from the movie. But first I want to distress it just a little bit to make it look a little bit more farmhouse with some ivory chalk paint. And this one, I won't say the words aloud because there are some cursing, but most of the best lines from the movie had cursing in them. So I won't say it in case you have little ears around, but you will be able to see the words on the screen. So I have moved to my good vinyl, and it's so much easier to work with. I love being able to get vinyl for $1 from the Dollar Tree, but again, I don't know if it's worth my time, if I'm going to have to cut stuff twice or have things rip. So I don't know. The vinyl itself is good though. So you can probably see what it's going to say. It's going to say something was full, which is a hilarious line from the movie where Cousin Eddie is like draining the sewer pipe or the sewer into the sewer drain at Clark's house. And he yells this at Clark through the window. This is so funny. And my son is 17 now, so I was like, oh yeah, it's fine. We can have a little bit of cursing in our Clark Griswold display here. So making sure that is down, and then I'm just going to go over the vinyl with a coat of that matte Mod Podge as well. Now, if you don't have a Cricut, you can always use like the little sticker letters from the Dollar Tree. You can try hand painting with paint pens, or you can you could use my designs and you could use like a transfer method too, so you'll know where to paint that on there. Now, this one is the gingerbread, I guess, kind of house from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to use the back like I've done all the others, just because I want it to be just a plain flat sign for the Cricut vinyl. And we're going to make the house red. So I'm going over with that candy apple red again and just distressing with a little bit of ivory chalk paint. I'm going to use white vinyl on all of these signs, and it stands out really great against the red and the green signs. I do a little bit of extra white distressing on the top to kind of make it look like snow. And this is another line from the movie that has a little bit of cursing in it, but I thought it was really funny. I went back and forth about which line I was going to put for the house. But the jolliest bunch of, this side of the nut house is what we're going to put on the sign from Clark's little rant from the movie. And I'm just going to put that on transfer paper and transfer that over to the sign as well and seal that down with a coat of Mod Podge as well. But I don't think I measured it very well, so I did have to go back and redesign it. So I'm just doing the bottom half of the sign there. And I did redesign it on the design I'll share for you to make sure that it's going to fit there on the top. The roof line kind of threw me off. And there we go. We got it all on there. And saying is so funny. Oh my gosh. We have watched this movie religiously since we were dating. So very long time ago. Our 20th wedding anniversary is coming up next year. So this is how that one turned out. And then I wanted to make one more. Now this is a truck with a tree on top from the Dollar Tree, but I wanted to look like the family Truckster. So I want a station wagon. So this stuff is easy to cut. So I use scissors where I can get in there to cut it, But here I couldn't quite get in there with the Christmas tree there. So I am just using a X-Acto blade to cut that. And that works really well too for this thin wood. And I'm just trying to angle it to make it look like a station wagon and less like a truck. Then I'm going to go over the whole thing with some green, Christmas green acrylic paint, distress with some ivory, and then I'm going to go on there with some more white vinyl and one of Clark's famous lines from this scene of the movie where he says this saying wrong and he says, burn some dust, eat my rubber, which was hilarious. So I thought that would be perfect for the little station wagon with the giant Christmas tree on top. And I think I rushed this a little bit. It wasn't quite dry. So make sure you get it dry before you put your vinyl on there, or you're going to have problems like that. So same thing. I'm just going to make sure it's good and down and go over it with a coat of Mod Podge. And so we have our 4 signs, our 2 red and 2 green. And I'm just going to hang those all around the top and the sides of my Griswold Christmas Tree Farm sign. Just tying some more rope on there. When I do the twine on there, I like to do the knots on the front. I think it sits better against the wall. Now, up next, I wanted to make like a pennant banner to hang underneath of it. And so I'm going to use some shapes that I cut out, and I will include links to those as well. But they're just cardstock. So I needed something a little bit more substantial. So I'm just going to use some of these wood pieces from the craft section at the Dollar Tree. They're kind of like little palettes, I guess you'd call them. And I'm going to paint them just like I painted the Tree Farm sign, very whitewash with the ivory acrylic paint, and a little bit sloppy, make sure that I don't get great coverage. I do go in and do the little areas in between where you could see the raw wood showing through. And these are going to be great bases for my banner. So I cut out 3 Christmas tree or Christmas vacation shapes and out of just regular cardstock in 3 different colors that match the red, the green, and the black. And I'm just going to attach those. So the red, I did the squirrel, the famous squirrel from the movie. The black, I did the fried pussycat. So sad. And for the green, I am going to do the great little moose mug from the movie. And I thought that would be really fun, those 3 shapes for my banner. Then I'm just going to take the cardstock and use a Mod Podge to attach that to our little wood palette signs. And this is going to give us like a sturdier sign. I didn't really want to just put the cardstock against the wall. I thought that it would look a little cheap just with paper. And so this totally made it look a lot more substantial. And I'm just going to go over all of those. You don't really have to wait for Mod Podge to dry when you're using cardstock because it's pretty thick. So once you put that on there, you can go ahead and do the Mod Podge on the top, and you don't have to worry about any of the wrinkling with the paper if you would do that with regular paper. So the cat's going to kind of hang off there all crazy, and I'm just going to dry those, and then I need to figure out a way to tie those together to hang on the wall. At first, I thought about using twine, but then I decided I wanted something a little bit more Christmassy. So I'm just distressing those as well to make them look a little bit more farmhouse. But what I'm going to use to attach them together is just some Christmas tree garland, just the cheap stuff. So I'm kind of seeing how I can attach it, and then I just cut off a little piece, and then I cut off a total of 4 pieces of the garland, and I'm just going to use that to attach together. I'm just going to use hot glue on one side of the palette, and when you're cutting those, cut them over something because they make a mess for real. And then I'm just going to glue that on the other side, and I'm going to continue that down my banner, and it's going to give me a fun, festive, a little Christmas banner here. Little touch of Christmas we got to throw in there since it's Christmas vacation, right? And then I'll do my last one there on the end of the banner, and this DIY is going to be ready to go. And these were so much fun to put together. My family is really enjoying this decoration theme. I wanted one last touch. I wanted the Griswold house for my table. So I found this great house at my thrift store for half off. It was only $1.50 and it still works. So great find, but it can be any house. It doesn't matter. And I want to kind of make this temporary because it's such a cool house. I don't want to ruin it. So I'm just going to cover the whole thing in Christmas lights like Clark did, right? I'm going to use these little light kits from the Dollar Tree. And just putting batteries in there, that 2 AA's in each one. These are those real thin wire lights. I thought those would be great because I could just wrap them all the way around the house. So I kind of feed it through the door and then feed it out the back window so you won't really be able to see where they come from. That way I can hide the little battery packs inside the house. And I'm kind of putting them where the little on buttons are at the front of the house so they'll be easy to turn on and off. And then I'm just going to use those little wire lights and to wrap around the house so it looks like the entire house is covered with Christmas lights, just like Clark's house. And I do use a little dot of hot glue here and there just to make sure they stay in place, but that, again, they're going to be easy to remove. And no real pattern, just trying to make sure that I get as much twinkle there as I can. And then I also wanted to cover the roof, but I didn't have any more of those lights. So it's the same kind of lights inside these ribbon lights from the Dollar Tree as well. So I'm going to use one of those for the roof. Now, what I found, though, is that it's like more of the yellow light, where the lights on the house were more of the blue-white light. But whatever. It kind of adds to the Griswold charm. So I'm going to feed that through the back window as well. Hide the battery pack for that one inside as well. And you can't really see them in there, the little battery packs. I think it worked out okay. And then I'm just going to use some hot glue to start it and then just kind of go back and forth on the roof of my house until we have a bright, decorated Griswold house. So one strand is probably going to be enough. And so I'm just going to go back and forth and just glue it on each end of my roof. And we're going to have our little Griswold house. And I thought this would be perfect to sit on the table with just a Christmas tree. So I got this at the Target dollar spot for $3. It's a great giant like snowy tree that I can put next to the house, kind of to represent the Christmas tree that was in the Griswold yard before Clark had to cut it down and put it in his living room. And these are great, but they do kind of shed a little bit, so kind of be careful with them until you're ready to display them. That flocking on there. And are you guys ready to see how it turned out?
Jingle bells ringing in my ear. Jingle bell, a sound that's oh so dear. Frosty the snowman is all around town. Watch out for reindeers are falling down. We stay up waiting for Santa tonight. He climbs down the chimney at the speed of light, while we're dancing around the Christmas tree, hugging and kissing just you and me. Carolers are singing outside our door, lovely songs we all heard before, as they walk from house to house to wish us all a Merry Christmas Day. Oh, a Merry Christmas Day. Oh, we're chasing snowflakes as they're falling down, and follow Rudolph all across the town. Later we meet under the mistletoe, while Santa's busy saying ho ho ho. We're feeling jolly, eating Christmas